I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you could take a moment of silence, please, and please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, the public notice of this meeting has been sent to board members, all district schools, the Herald News, the Suburban Trends, the Record, the Messenger, West Milford Town Hall, the County Superintendent's Office, the Board Attorney, and Cablevision of Warwick, and posted on the district's website. Copies of the board meeting calendar resolution were provided to all local media, Town Hall, Township Library, and all district schools. Roll call, Mrs. Francisco.
Mr. Stillman?
Here.
Mr. Conklin?
Here.
Mrs. Stevenson?
Here.
Mrs. Dwyer? Mr. Garino?
Here.
Mrs. Fritz?
Here.
Mr. Ovchinsky?
Here.
Mrs. Romeo?
Here.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Here. Dr. Animo?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Before we get started with the budget presentation, we do have two Eagle Scout presentations this evening. We have Mr. Cooper and Mr. Kieser. Mr. Cooper was here first, so I'm going to ask him to come up to the microphone and give us a brief explanation of your Eagle Scout project and how you think it can help our school district.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Cooper. I am from Troop 114. I'm a Life Scout out of St. Joseph's Church. I've been playing baseball all my life, ever since I was 5 years old. I enjoyed the sport, and I've learned so many lessons out of it. It's taught me about teamwork, such as scouts. It's improved my character, making me a better person, and I felt that I should give back to the sport. I played even in freshman year, and it was a great experience, but I feel like I should give back to the sport by creating dugouts up at Digos Field behind Macapin. I want to create two dugouts, and I want to fix up the memorial behind there, make it look nice, and improve my community. The dugouts will protect the players from bad weather and even from the sun and making them feel hot. And I just want to improve my community by doing that. And I feel like it will be a good improvement to the community.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cooper. One quick question. You said you're a lifelong baseball fan. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you for your thoughts on the Houston Astros cheating scandal.
You're on the record now.
No comment.
Can't say I agree with it.
You have an honest face. Thank you. And now, Mark, would you like to come up? Kieser.
Me? We'll share every other? Sure, that's fine.
Thank you. Go.
We can, we can share. That's right.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, geez, look at the
Hi, my name is Mark Kieser. I am a Life Scout from Troop 151 out of Oak Ridge, New Jersey. And my Eagle Scout proposal is I wanted to make a pavilion up at the turf for all sorts of sporting events and any clubs that would like to use it to shield them from shade or from the sun and the elements so that they're undercover and they can, for like vendors, so they can use to buy or sell things during events. It's going to be a 14 by 14 feet or a foot structure. And I would do it to give back to my community. I've been at the turf. I play lacrosse and football, so I'm usually up there for games, practices, and other events. So I want to give back and show them that yeah, I just want to give back to the community and help with making the turf easy, like better for people, so they're protected from the elements and stuff.
Where are you, where's the pavilion?
When we walk up through the gate, it's going to be to the
To the right.
To the right.
Yes.
Ooh, great spot.
where
Yes.
where the storage containers are
Yeah.
now, and we're probably going to move those out because we don't really need those anymore. We have the storage underneath the bleachers.
Right.
So that'll clean that whole area up. The containers will be out and the pavilion will go in. It'll freshen up a little bit.
That'll be a
Yep.
great spot too, because a lot of the younger groups that meet, when they get done, they're always talking afterwards, so that's a great spot.
There's no break from the sun up there when it's really
No,
hot.
it isn't.
So
It can
that's,
be-
it's really needed up there. That's great.
Or rain, if you,
Right.
you know, it can be brutal. Oh.
And if you look on page 3, there's actually like a picture of what it would look like on the top.
Very nice.
And
Are you going to be asking some of the younger Boy Scouts to help you?
yeah.
I have one for you. Definitely do have one.
All right, great. Thank you. All
He's a very good helper.
right, great. Thank you. I can use all the help I can get.
You got it.
Thank you.
We'll get his
Copy, I
whole
signed it.
What?
This is your copy. I signed it
Oh,
already.
okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
I'll call you, Mark.
I like the Boy Scouts.
All right, before we get to the preliminary budget presentation, I just want to update the board and the community on the, what used to be called coronavirus, now they're calling COVID-19. So last Thursday evening, we received a memo from the department indicating, for the first time in my lifetime, I believe, that if the school district was forced to close by the state Department of Health or the local health officer, if we had a plan for distance learning, that we could have that plan approved by the county, and once it's approved by the county, in the event that the school district is closed, that we could count those days towards our 180 minimum. So we had an early dismissal today. Our staff members were given a little bit extra time. We borrowed from the faculty meeting that was originally scheduled for today, so the staff members had probably 2 to 2.5 hours to start planning long-term in the event that the district does close. Probably more, we're looking at about 2 weeks of planning to start with, and then we could take it from there depending on how bad this outbreak becomes or hopefully doesn't become. So that's the plan as of right now. I sent the plan in today to the county office. I'm waiting to hear back. Hopefully we'll get that approved. If you want to look at it as a continuum from 12th grade on the one hand to kindergarten or even pre-K, on the other hand, the 12th grade is going to be almost all digital online learning, similar to a college, whereas the kindergarten is going to be mostly all journals, workbooks, things of that nature, and it's sort of a sliding scale. The older they get, the more online it'll become, and the less paper and pencil it will become, depending on the age of the students. So we're also looking at what we can do for our special needs population, different therapies we have to take into consideration, as well as some of our special subjects. What do we do for second grade art? How do we get that 35-minute lesson delivered to our students? Those are some of the hiccups, but we believe we have the core subjects covered from all grade levels, K to 12. We're just looking to tweak now. And it's a living plan, it's a living document. It's broad enough that if a teacher wanted to change a lesson plan or two between now and then, they would certainly have that freedom to, as long as our core standards are delivered and our students are learning. Okay? All right. And next up, if the board wants to move, we have our preliminary budget presentation.
Did you want to do Dave?
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Ovshinsky also.
As everybody's seen that we're getting an additional almost $2 million cut this year, about $500,000 more than was anticipated originally from the state. Part of the Mission Operations Committee and also the Legislative Committee drafted a letter that was sent out to the Commissioner of Education today. May I read it? To Dr. Lamont Repoulet, Commissioner of New Jersey Department of Education. Dear Commissioner Repoulet, it was with great dismay that the members of the West Milford School District Board of Education received the news of the recent changes to the school funding S2 formula in school years 1819, 1920, and 2021. Our district has been forced to absorb approximately $3.5 million in cuts to state aid with the promise of a loss of up to $5 million more in school years 21-22 through 24-25. These reductions are in the process of decimating our school district. While other districts may have the capacity to mitigate the reductions via increased local property taxes, the Township of West Milford is at a severe disadvantage in this respect. This is due to the negative impact of the Highlands Water Protection and Planning Act, the Act, that has had upon our township. Enacted in 2004, the Act protects drinking water for over 5.4 million people, nearly 60% of New Jersey population, and also helps preserve New Jersey's dwindling open space. While the benefits of this are not in dispute, it has not come about without being a costly burden to the residents of West Milford. Property taxes are high, local businesses are suffering, and the constraints posed by the Act leave few, if any, options available to address these issues. The local residents have lived up to their part with additional septic costs, building restrictions, and extremely limited development options. The economic relief portions of the Act, the Highlands Protection Fund, Highlands Municipal Property Tax Stabilization, Watershed Offset Aid, Transfer Development Rights, and other compensation guarantees, for the most part, have not materialized and are effectively broken promises by the state to the residents of West Milford. Recently, there's been a glimmer of hope that the plight in the Highlands region is being recognized and may be addressed. The introduction of the Greater Highlands Economic Development Plan by Senate President Sweeney and Senator Orojo, backed by Congressman Gottheimer, would be a big step in helping the region. This mirrors legislation introduced on numerous occasions by Senator Panaccio, and now with bipartisan support, hopefully progress will be made. We realize the effects of the Act are unique to West Milford and were not factored into the funding formula. Still, the fiscal impact of the Act needs to be acknowledged. In light of the recent recognition of financial problems caused by the Act, as noted above, we respectfully request that consideration be given to a review of the district's funding in an effort to stem the potentially devastating impact on our schools. We will look forward to reviewing these issues with your staff. It is also copied to Governor Murphy, Senate Education Committee, Assembly Education Committee, Senate President Sweeney, Senator Panaccio, Senator Rojo, Assemblyman DeCroce, Assemblyman Weber, Congressman Gottheimer, West Milford Mayor and Council, the Executive Director of New Jersey School Board Association, and we'll go out to North Jersey Media and the West Milford Messenger.
Dave, I want to thank you so much for that. It is important that people know that we've been talking as a group and we're trying to do whatever we can. Dr. Annemone and Mike, Mr. Conklin, Jay Stillman, and who else was with? That's it. And Mrs. Francisco were with me. We went and met with Senator Panaccio in his office. He has taken on our fight, and we're hoping that maybe that will help bring our district up to light in the Senator Sweeney's eyes, and we're very thankful, and we are continuing to do more. It would be helpful too if any residents would like to write letters to the senators and to the Senate President and the Mayor and the Governor of New Jersey, and let them know what's happening to West Milford. But thank you so much for putting that letter together and getting it out.
Preliminary budget presentation, so, Robert?
I'm going to show you an email from my superintendent about calling students for this tomorrow. About chapter 78. Did you get that too?
Is it cold in here yet? Is it cold?
Oh, I was going to say, oh, I'm okay. Oh, it's good.
I'm in it. It should have been on already.
Good evening, Board of Education, members of the public. We have our preliminary budget presentation this evening here. So obviously, I want to thank Barbara and all the administrators for helping out with this, putting this budget together this year. We're not quite done yet. We've still about 6 more weeks until April 28th, but we're almost home. So, thank you to the Board of Education. So the budget itself, you're right, is going down this year over year. The total budget goes down by just about 1/4%, and the general fund is down by 3/8%. So year over year, the budget has decreased. That's largely due to a cut in state aid. The kind of budget result this year, we have administrative costs that are lower than our regional limit. There's North Jersey, Central, and South Jersey. North Jersey has the highest limit per pupil. That's largely because the cost of living in North Jersey is greater than in South Jersey. So we're spending about $300 less per pupil on administrative costs. With over 3,000 students, that's about $1 million extra that is in the classroom. Not to say administrators aren't doing work that's in the classroom, but not directly. So the bulk of this money is in the classroom. It's teachers, it's teaching aides, it's people along those lines. So curriculum highlights, Mr. Novak, you want to jump on it?
Sure. So this year's budget, we have a number of projects that we are, currently working on and then looking to finish going into next year. I always like to point out our work with our reading and writing workshop consultants for a balanced 5-year plan. Next year would be 5 years of that initial 5-year plan. And within that is the continued work with the grade levels that we have been training, which are have been grades 3 through 8. And next year we are going to be, we started with a little bit with 2nd grade this year. We're going to be continuing with more grades, K through 2, finally getting in on that training. We've also been in the process of piloting word study programs in grades 3 through 5. So next year's budget will include the purchase of a program once we have completed the process of deciding which program we're going to. That is a replacement in grades 3 through 5 of the traditional spelling program. We're also going to continue our usage with the Lincoln benchmark assessments. We talked about a lot of that in this room. We see great success to this point, and hopefully we see that continued success when we get our results for our upcoming spring assessment. But the bottom line is we've seen a greater commitment to standards-based instruction and standards-based conversations with our staff and our administration, and really looking directly at the standards that we need to cover. Taking a look at math for next year, we've also spoken a lot in this room about the aging out of our current math program and what a reasonable replacement cycle would look like. So we are going to be starting a K-5 pilot program. It's probably not going to affect all of K-5 next year. We're going to start in our younger grades. We have a committee in place, and we're expecting that we're going to be looking at some programs throughout the course of next year. That comes at a cost. In the past, the publisher would give you materials to try out. They don't do that anymore. So if we're looking at 3 different publishers, we're going to be looking at 3 different sets of pilot materials to try out in our classrooms throughout next year. We're also going to be continuing with our Lincoln benchmarks, as I mentioned, with our ELA discussion for math. In science next year, as we know, with the move to Maccabin, 6th grade move to Maccabin, one of the, bigger ticket items that we've discussed in the process was the idea that we would have to retrofit classrooms to be used for science instruction. That would include lab tables, the basic science tools and equipment, safety materials, the cabinets for the goggles, and all those types of things that go with it. We also are in the, second year of our phasing in the bio, chem, physics for all program, where we're going to be having more students having access to chemistry and physics going forward. So we are going to have to adjust some of those classrooms in our lab settings to make sure that we have access to all the materials you need for those courses. Two of the unknowns, social studies and fine and performing arts, we are expecting large updates to the standards in social studies and fine and performing arts. They have not been updated in many years. The state has alluded to it in the past, but it seems like they're finally at a point where they're going to be updating the standards. When you update the standards, that's when we end up having to take a look at, do our materials that we have now address those standards, and can we make an adjustment, or do we have to look at new programs? So that's an anticipated cost that are built into next year's budget. Our last line, where it talks about data analysis, we are going to be continuing with the use of WING and the use of Renaissance and a number of those tools that we have online to access data and let the end user, which we're calling the classroom teacher, let them have access to their student data and be the keeper of that knowledge and be able to foster those conversations and look directly at their class's performance year over year and be able to pinpoint those specific learning standards. So we've seen great success with it so far, and we're going to continue with that next year.
All right, so our budget timeline, you said we're almost done here. We're at the preliminary budget. We had some budget meetings in the winter. Got our state aid about 2 weeks ago, and we're sending the budget into the county office later this week. About 6 weeks from now, we have the final budget, the public hearing on the budget. That's in late April. Between now and then, we have a Operations and Finance Committee next Tuesday. We have a board meeting the Tuesday after that. We have a Operations and Finance Committee meeting in early April. We have a board meeting the 21st of April, and then the public hearing on the budget. So we have about 6 weeks and multiple meetings, either full board meetings or committee meetings between now and then. All right, so our budget basics. So our budget, you know, it's a big budget book. To break it down to two halves is our revenues and our expenses. Our revenues are going down and our expenses are going up. Most notably salaries and benefits. So that's an overwhelming majority of our budget, probably 3/4, I would say, of our budget is rising at a rate that's much larger than our revenues are going up. So we have a tax levy, which is typically capped at 2%. This year we're using something called bank cap, which should make it over 2%, it'll be 2.5%. But our other revenues are going down, our fund balance is going down, our federal title money is going down, and our state aid is going down dramatically. A little bit more on that in a minute. And our expenses are going up, in particular salaries and benefits. So, state aid reduction, this is what Mr. Oshinsky wrote his letter about, but 2 years ago in July of 18, I guess it was, they adjusted the state funding formula. It was actually after we did the budget that year. And they gave us this calendar of cuts. It's probably, yellow might not be the best color for this graph. I'll change that for April, but we were told that we would be losing this much money cumulatively over 7 years. And it's going to land right about $7 million over 7 years. And this is the actual. So it's going up. The cuts are increasing at a much more dramatic rate than we were told 2 years ago. So there's no telling where we're going to be in 2024, 25. I don't think we're going to land there. We're halfway there now. We're going to be somewhere up here, 9 to 10 million in cuts overall. That's the big problem right now that we're dealing with. And it's a mystery every year how they come up with this number. There's an open request now out from multiple districts in the state to get the funding formula. Not necessarily making any changes to it, but just to look at it, because we don't have that formula. I, for one, would love to see how they got this number here down from here. How did it increase so much? We know our enrollment went down a little bit. We know that. But there's another piece of the formula called the local fair share, which is what the department says this community can afford to spend on schools. And if you're an affluent community, they say you can spend more, you can spend a lot. If you're a less affluent community, you can spend very little. I think they have us listed as being more affluent than we are, so they're asking us to pay a higher percentage. So we know the enrollment's dropped, and it's continuing to drop, but it doesn't seem to be this dramatic. So if something's not right, we'd love to get a look at the formula, and hopefully we will. So this next slide is basically the same slide in reverse. This is the state aid as a percentage of our budget. This is actual, and this is projected over the last couple of years and the next couple of years. So the state used to cover a quarter of our budget, and we think when this is all over, it'll be closer to about 7 or 8% of our budget. So just between then and now, it's about 10%. 10% of the budget just disappeared, and it gets crowded out, and that's why we have staffing cuts, program cuts, etc. So our tax levy, this is a local tax levy, not the overall budget. So the overall budget's 73 million, the tax levy is only 55 million. So it's 2% up to 55 million, that's 2% of the full budget. That's 2%. So when we say we're going to increase the budget, the taxes by 2%, it's about $1.1 million, which doesn't even begin to fully make up for the state aid cut. Nonetheless, we've done a great job, this board, over the past 9 years. The average in 9 years is just under 1.5 percentage points increase. So nobody likes to pay taxes. It'd be hard for me to say that the taxes are high in this community because of the schools. There are very few districts that have a tax levy increase over 9 years that low. I'd be shocked if there's one in the district, one in the state. So it's less than a 1.5% increase. Okay, now the preliminary budget, the actual numbers, the tax levy is 57 million, which is up 2.5%. The extra 0.5% is money that was not taxed during this year here. So we're able to borrow that money for this year to get it over 2%. And then you can see the general fund is down just under half of 1%. Okay, revenues, Barbara breaks down a little bit more. Barbara, if you could explain some of this here, and we've discussed how fund balance is declining, and you can explain why it's not declining as much as originally thought.
Before I get into this chart, I want you to take a look at the budgeted fund balance. And I realized about an hour ago that I pulled a number and I don't know where I got it from. But the actual audited amount.
That's this number here?
Yeah. The actual audited amount was $1,475,765. So it's a difference of $8,000, $8,067.
Can you say it one more time?
Yes, it's $1,475,765.
Thank you.
So we'll make that correction for next time. But in last year, the budget that we're currently working in, we had a budgeted fund balance of $2,499,981. So you can see that there's a $1 million gap right from there.
So that's last year's here to this year's here.
Yeah, there was a $1 million gap. So we have the cut in state aid, which was larger than what we anticipated. You can see that based upon the extraordinary aid application that we put in last year, we're increasing our revenue by $25,000 because we think that we have the ability to capture money from the state. They have put more money in for special education, and this past year they also gave us a larger percentage of the costs that they allowed in as excess costs. So this is anticipated, but we won't know the $725,000 that we used as a revenue last year to support the current year's budget. We won't know if we've achieved that number until August of this year. Because in the spring, in May, we have to submit an application tracking all of our costs, our extraordinary costs, our one-to-one nurses that we have for certain students, our tuitions that are over $40,000, one-to-one aides that we have to place because of IEPs. So once we track all those costs, we're hoping that we can get to the $725,000 that we use to support this year's budget. Anything in excess, we're able to use in the 2021 school year. So based upon the applications that we've had for the last year or two, we feel comfortable increasing it to $750,000. So that's giving us a little bit extra revenue to support the 2021 budget. So let's get to budgeted fund balance. We had $1 million less than last year. But when I took a look at some of the expenses that we had, the big one is the ESIP. We have 500 and it's over $500,000 that we have to pay this year in bond, in repayment of the bonds that were sold. So the theory behind the ESIP program is that you take the savings that you're achieving, and that's what's supposed to pay back your costs. It's not supposed to be money that you have to raise to pay those costs. The ESIP program began in December of this year. So it makes sense that the savings that we're achieving from December through June of 2020, we have to be able to capture those savings, and we have to use it to pay the note that's due in October. That savings would normally, if we didn't use it to enhance our budgeted fund balance, you could see a number of 905, 910, which it actually is 913, 477, 977. I can't even see what the glasses are. 913, 977. That's additional money that we're going to take from this year's operating that we're not using, and we're going to roll it into the 2021 budget to support that, instead of letting it drop into fund balance and use it in 21-22. It's a little confusing.
Yeah.
But we have to take the savings that we're generating now, which is about $335,000. That's what I'm anticipating. About $335,000 that's going to have to go toward paying back that note next year. We also had, all of our contracts have been settled now. And we had one collective bargaining agreement that has been, negotiations were ongoing for a couple of years. We had money set aside to pay for the retro for that final contract. And out of that, we had $110,000 that was left. So now we're 335 plus 110, so that's 445. So $445,000 of that 913,977 is actually monies that we know we're going to have left over that we're going to need to use in next year's budget. The balance is going to come from, we had a number of leave of absences this year. So we know that based upon our payroll projections, we're going to have a significant amount of money left in payroll. And we would like to use some of that money, $468,900, almost $469,000, to support the 2021 budget, rather than letting that money fall into excess surplus and use it in 21-22. It's a gamble that we're going to have when our audit is completed in June of 2020. It's a gamble that we're going to have at least the $1.4 million that we started out with to put into the 21-22 budget. We'll be close to it, maybe. Depends on, right now, I think we'll have some energy savings over and above our ESIP because of the weather that we've been having. And we're constantly monitoring expenses so that we can try to save money as much as possible. So that's why instead of $1 million gap on the 2499, we're only going to have a $110,000 gap the fund balance from one year to the next. Anybody have a question about that? I know
It was very overwhelming.
it's kind of crazy.
Barbara, is the Easton running on track, do you think?
I think that they're on track, yeah, but it's a process. It's going to take, a lot of work is going to be done this summer. There's some some replacement parts that need to be manufactured that we haven't gotten yet. So, but I think a lot of the lighting has been done. So I think that we are seeing some savings. But the fact remains that we have to take money that we're anticipating. That was the whole premise of this whole project. And it's a $575,000 note due in October is a lot of money. And we have $335,000 that I believe is going to be coming out of the current year's budget. And the balance of that note has to come from our expenses in the 2021 budget. So I've reduced our electrical and our natural gas budget to put that money into bringing back the note in October.
Because that's where it's supposed to come from, right?
And hopefully by June of 2021, we are not in a deficit in those accounts.
I take it, and you're always good about this, you're going to keep us aware as we go through the year where we are standing. So
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said 335 that is due this October, and then the balance will come next year.
335 is
That's what we
money
have in
that
savings.
From the saving.
estimated that we'll save
Right.
between December and June of this year.
Right.
Which we will roll into the next budget to cover the
balance.
payment. There'll be a partial covering of the payment. The rest of the payment is going to have to come from our expenses, gas and electric,
Gotcha.
for the 2021 budget. And if you look at those numbers, and I can point them out to you, you can see where I've reduced it so that we can pay back the bond. The last thing I want is to have us have to raise taxes to pay back that bond, because that was not the point of this program.
Right.
And yes, they have to guarantee the savings, but the guarantee is only for the first few years. If you haven't achieved it once the project is done, you're not going to achieve it for the rest of the time. And this is an 18-year note. This is a bigger note than the roof replacement. So,
Are any of our notes coming to the...
no, because the only thing we have outstanding now is the roof replacement and this bond for the energy program. That's all we have outstanding in debt service. The Medicaid reimbursement has gone up from last year. This is a number that the state of New Jersey tells us that we have to achieve. And so there's quarterly reporting that has to be done. And it has to do with our, the services that we provide students. We've been very diligent about meeting that requirement, because if not, they put you on a corrective action plan and they remind you if you have not submitted the things that you need to submit. Tuition is basically the same. When I look at revenues, I look at what we've brought in over the last 3 years, and I average it so that we have a sense of whether we're on track or whether we need to adjust. Our tuitions are students that we bring in from other districts, and our pre-K program, the gen ed students pay a tuition to attend the pre-K program. Transportation fees,
Right before you get to that part, I just wanted to mention about the tuitions. You're going to see on tonight's agenda, under the education section, that our CLIMB program, our ABA autism program, for the first time, so last year in April for Autism Awareness Month, our teachers came out, they presented on our autism program, our CLIMB program. We talked about the benefits of the program, the families discussed with you, just all of the positive part of the program of being in West Milford in the least restrictive environment. So we were not ready to take tuition students as of last year. The board asked us about that. But I do want to say that now the program is recognized at the county level. So I know Ms. Pearsall, you're here. I want to just thank you and the teachers and the staff for that, because we were able to receive our first tuition student in our Climb Autism program, and it's on tonight's agenda.
I know Dr. McQuaid is marketing a lot of our programs. We've had some site visits from neighboring districts who are looking to place one or more students in one or more of our programs, which should help us achieve some of these numbers.
Yeah, today actually Vernon came to see our Highlander Academy, and so thank you for setting that up.
Thank you.
And then Bloomingdale is scheduled next week, so it's a good thing.
I think we'll see the tuition number climb due to Dr. McQuaid and Ms. Pearsall's efforts. So thank you so much for that.
Climb, that's right,
Climb.
Bill Climb.
Program, yeah.
Okay, transportation fees, as you all know, we have a big bus garage, and we have mechanics, and they service our buses, but they also service other districts' buses, so that we get a revenue from them doing that. Miscellaneous revenue, those are things that we really don't anticipate but seem to materialize, like rebates that we might apply for, rentals for different facilities, and other things that come along throughout the school year. And we usually have a pretty steady stream of miscellaneous revenue. This year, we've added the restricted miscellaneous revenue category, and that number is significant because that's the township's contribution toward the turf field replacement and the running track replacement. The balance of that job is going to come from our withdrawal from capital reserve. You look at the $504,551, that's including the turf field, and it's including the well replacement. We have to put a new well in at Maxton School because we're having problems with the tank there. So we're using capital reserve money. That's money that we've been able to squirrel away for the years in case we have to do a major capital project. And so, and we're hoping that come June, you'll probably see a resolution to make a deposit into capital reserve if we have the money based upon the audit, because we need to be able to maintain that fund. There is not a lot of money in that fund. We get interest on a monthly basis because it is a separate account, and then we add that interest payment, but we have to account it as a revenue because that's what the state tells us to do. We also have a maintenance reserve account, which is being depleted every year because we started with $500,000 and we've been drawing off of it. And that can go to support our required maintenance. But that is the only thing that it can support. And we're very fortunate in West Milford because we do have skilled people. We have an electrician, we have a plumber, we have carpenter, we have an HVAC person. We have general mechanics that do a lot of the work for us instead of relying on other trades to come in and wait for them to be able to do repairs. So if we have an emergency on a weekend, we bring in our people from our trades and they take care of the emergency. And there are times that it happens, like floods. Because heating coils break out of nowhere. And then you have the tax levy, which you can see is a 2.5 increase over and above what was approved last year. I'd like to tell the board every year that this is a preliminary budget, and we constantly are looking between now and April 28th for ways to trim it out if possible. But this is what we're recommending that you approve as revenues to support this, because we have to send this all down to the county, and then we'll rip it apart and put it back together. Anybody have any questions about the revenues?
I have a question. Just a clarification, I probably just don't fully understand it, but what you were saying under the capital reserve, you said something about having to make a deposit to it in June. Where does that deposit come, where does that come from?
Okay, so in June of every year, there's a resolution on the agenda that says the board authorizes us to make a deposit into the capital reserve account pending the completion of the audit, the audit for June 19th.
Oh, got it.
June 2020. If we have a significant amount of money, then we can put some of that money
From
into
that
capital
audit.
reserve,
Got it.
and that's like our little bank account
Got it.
for something that happens, or something that's needed. We've used it to pay for the roof at Milford School.
Got it.
It's like your rainy day fund in case there's something that goes wrong.
The deposit threw me off, but that makes sense from the
At
audit.
least you have something that you can draw off of.
So if you take money out every, March, and you don't ever put it back in June, eventually it just runs to
It
zero.
runs out.
Now, one of the things that we still have pending, right now, we're out to bid on, if you recall, part of the ESIP, we had 3 roofs on the elementary schools that were going to look to code, so that we could put panels up there, solar panels. And the board authorized an expenditure up to $600,000 for that. So that bid is coming back in April. So we'll know whether or not we've been able to achieve that or not. And so that's a topic for discussion.
I want to just touch upon the turf, because that's a question that is out there in the public, and I think we need to let people understand that that money is not going to be taxed to the taxpayer. That is money that we have been putting away into that capital, to the reserve account, because we have been maintaining the turf every year after year, and we have now reached the end of the life of the turf.
Right.
And the cost of, thankfully, the town is sharing that cost with us this year, when it comes due. And people need to understand that we both have been budgeting for that, because the turf is used by so many groups, more than everybody thinks it's just football, but it really isn't. The football, the amount of people and usage that's going on at that field is very important, that the public is aware of, and that the money is not going to be coming, there's not going to be an added tax levy to the taxpayer for that.
So football probably uses that field the least.
Right.
The number of teams at each sport.
Yep.
But,
Field hockey,
and you're right,
everyone.
if that came out of the budget today, it would not affect the tax levy. It's just capital reserve funds that are already there, so.
And I think we also have to stress the well at Macapin,
It's the same
because
thing.
that is a big cost factor for us, one which I think Barbara has worked more hours than I can say about trying to get us hooked up to Passaic Valley, and we cannot get hooked up. There is no water for the school system, even though we're protecting the water for the rest of the state. So we're told we need a well. So I think it's important that, it goes, that people understand how many hours have been put in to this budget, and especially on these items that we can't live without.
And this is our expenses. It's the second half of our budget. You see there's a lot of red here in the right-hand columns. There's a lot of decreases in a lot of areas. Some of these are the budget cuts that we're going to talk about momentarily. One of the largest expense increases is health benefits year over year. The increase on the premiums is going to be 15%. The reason this doesn't get up to 15% is there'll be fewer people receiving benefits.
Press release yesterday, it's Senator Sweeney.
Sorry.
Anything in that for us?
Well, we're not in the state health benefit program, so that's part of it. But they're also coming up with some kind of a new
Low cost.
It's like a state plan
Program.
itself,
a new program that if you go into it, then you could minimize your contribution. But we are not in the state health benefit program. One of the things, the original estimate was about 24.6% because of our claims experience this year. And we were fortunate in one respect because we got a competitive quote And once we got a competitive quote from another insurer, Horizon was able to sharpen their pencil and came down to where the competitive quote came in. So we dodged a bullet, kind of, this year. A bullet that I didn't really expect because I only put in 8% initially. Because that's where our increases have been coming in, around 5 to 8%. So.
And the increase was 24%, right? I mean, The
We
first,
got it down to
the original number was like 24 until.
24.6.
So.
So we're down to 15. I guess that's okay.
So it's more than typical, but it was just one of those years.
One of those anomalies. It hasn't happened in 10 years, because when I first got here, we had a 29% increase. That's where it started, and it ended up with 24.
So tax levy impact, this is year over year. A minor change here, the average assessed home from the community is down $200. So we'll multiply these numbers out, and the average tax increase on the median home is just under $120, so just under $10 per month for the median household. That's a tax levy change year over year. Capital projects, again, these are coming out of our capital budget. This is not coming out of the tax levy. The Corbett Field and track, the Maximum Well, these are very essential. We're resurfacing the tennis courts behind Maximum School as well. That's long past their prime. And we're going to continue with the ESIP and the shared services with the township, which saves both parties, the school board and the township, significant amount of money. Proposed cuts, these are going to hit every school in the district, and most all of our programs, clubs, supplies, athletics, professional development, as well as some of our summer programs. One administrator is in the budget to be cut, 2 elementary teachers, this is by retirement, a half-time secretary at transportation, science at the high school, 0.6 teacher for special education. It's pending a few IEP meetings, but we think we're almost there. And district-wide, it'll be a music and a half-time nurse. We're going from 9 nurses to 8.5. Okay? So what does the future look like? We know what the timeline looks like, but we also know state aid is going to be declining. Expenses are going up, revenues are going down. We're going to struggle to fund all of our programs. There'll be staffing reductions. We'll have a limited ability to fund our reserve accounts, maintenance reserve, which is used for maintenance, and capital reserve, which is used for larger projects. So it's going to be obviously a lot of pressure on local taxes, because the state is pulling back from funding 25% of our budget to probably they're going to settle it around 8%. So there's that missing 17% in there that's no longer coming from the state. And our federal money, our title money is decreasing as well. So our next steps, we're going to continue to refine estimates. It's possible this number could change between now and then. Personnel utilities, we'll get a better handle on those between now and April 28th. We'll continue to look for ways to economize our budget, and we have some key dates here coming up that I explained before. Anybody have any questions from the board?
Can you recall how many students we were paying for this year and how many we're estimating that we'll have next year? So how many students in the system, I say paying for, right, because we have students that go out of our school district that we pay for.
50 this year. Our enrollment,
The enrollment,
And what did we estimate for next year?
I'm going to say 3,200.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought 3,200.
Yeah. So that number changes day to day, kids move in and out, but I think 3,250 is our ASSA number. And we'll probably be 3,200 by next October, when we do our official count.
And that number includes our out-of-district kids except for PCTI, correct?
Correct. As you can see, we're pulling a lot, we don't have that many students out of district anymore, we've pulled a lot back over the years. All right. Thank you very much.
any other questions?
Well,
No other questions?
Said, well,
Thank you for all your work.
Yeah, we'll get there.
PCTI infuriates me. We should be able to count them. Good.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is there any other questions?
Alec, has there been any progress on working to count the students that go to technical school?
We discussed that with our meeting with Senator Panaccio about a week ago, and no progress as of now, I suppose, so, yeah.
That's also something that maybe we can draft a letter about, because PCTI is getting money, yeah? And they're getting 11,000 and change for each of our students that go there. But we can't count them in our enrollment, yet we're paying for their education.
Right. We've talked to Senator Panaccio about that last
Yeah.
week, and we did get a letter from PCTI because of their, the money they receive from the state. They're going to reduce tuition by, I think it's $250 a student,
Okay.
Oh, nice.
but it hasn't been approved yet formally, so we can't include it in this budget. But it's
It
about
says about
$21,000.
$25,000, just under.
$21,000.
Yeah.
I think it's important, though, that Senator Panaccio did latch on to those numbers that we told him. He was not aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused. I keep thinking, we count every child that we send out of district as a special needs student, that child stays on our rolls. Why? And we pay a tuition, which makes sense. But why those 80-some students drop off our rolls, but yet we still have to pay their tuition? Makes no sense. Plus, it's like we're being double, our town gives more of a percentage goes to the county than stays here in West Milford when it comes to our property taxes. It seems a little out of balance to me, that then on top of that, you're asking the taxpayers again to give away the tuition money to the school that our tax dollars are funding. I could understand some, maybe there's something, but it seems we should be getting credit for them on our rolls. And then it would help us quite a bit, right, Barb, if we had those 80, it would help.
Well, sure, because then you'd get at least some state aid to support the expenditure, but right now, you're not getting any state aid to support that expenditure, and that $1 million is coming directly from your tax dollars.
And you're directly having to take from your taxpayers to pay those tuitions.
And PCTI, their state aid was increased, right?
Over $6 million.
Yeah.
$3 million last year,
677.
$6 million this year.
Yes, over $6 million. So, I think the sad part of this is when you talk about this in education, people are trying to pit one district against the other, saying, oh, well, do you want me to take it back from this district because no, we want you to fairly fund education. If there is an equation that they're using to come up with the state aid, we need to know that, because if we knew that, we would be able to plan better ahead, be able to plan better in our budget. But also, it needs, there are, these unique districts like ours, and that's the letter from Dave explaining about the Highlands Act, how that's impacting West Milford, how we're 100% in the Highlands, and we can't change that. We can't put any ratables up. Jefferson, our neighbor, took a very big hit. And, Vernon too.
13 or 14 and dollar value.
Yeah, and all of these communities are all in the Highlands Act. Some are 90%, some are, I think we're the only district that's 100% in the Highlands.
We are, yeah.
So, we are truly feeling the impact.
Municipalities being made up, like Jersey City took a $25 million cut, but that's because they're growing and condos and all that stuff, they're having all those ratables. We just don't have.
We don't have the ability. Did you
I have a question for Barb. Could you just tell me the health benefits incentive program? if a staff member doesn't take health
If a
benefits?
staff member is entitled to health benefits and they don't get it, there's a $2,000 annual waiver that they receive. So instead of them having to contribute, they get a waiver of $2,000.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the budget from the board?
And feel free that if, you have questions, just reach out, call, email, come in, there. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, we'll go into public comment then. This portion of the meeting is open to the members of the public for the purpose of addressing resolutions on this agenda only. Members of the public who have requested to speak prior to the meeting will be recognized by the chair first. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes for a period of 30 minutes, and then time permitting, other public comment limited to 5 minutes per speaker will be allowed until the 30-minute time period transpires. All members of the public speaking during this public comment period are asked to address topics listed in the agenda. All speakers are asked to sign the register provided and to give their full name, spell their last name, group affiliation if appropriate, and provide their address. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that the members of the public be courteous and respectful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged, and the board and the administration will not respond to them. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded to them by the laws of New Jersey. The board is not responsible and is not liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments. Members of the public are reminded that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Is anyone wishing to speak?
Seeing none, I make a motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, we need a motion to adopt the agenda. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as is.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Education. Will you do that for me, Kate?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve the following agenda items, 1 and 2 on the agenda.
Discussion? If not, Mrs. Francisco, roll call, please.
Mrs. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Ovshinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz?
Yes.
Mr. Conklin?
Yes.
Mrs. Romeo?
Yes.
Mr. Stillman?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes?
Mr. Guarino?
Which one are we talking about?
We're on education,
Oh, yes.
1 and 2.
Good.
Okay, and the next item will hold until after executive session, if we need executive session for that. Personnel, student affairs, Mrs. Fritz?
Sure. I'd like to move items 1 through 9 under personnel and student affairs.
I'll
I need a
second.
second.
I'll second.
Discussion?
I'd like to comment on it.
Sure.
Mrs. Boyle is one of my children's most favorite classroom aides, and I wish her nothing but the most wonderful, wonderful retirement.
Thank you, so do we. It's always good to be able to retire.
Yes. I can't wait.
Any other discussion? If not, Barbara, roll call?
Mrs. Fritz?
Yes.
Mrs. Romeo?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Conklin?
Yes.
Mr. Ovshinsky? Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mr. Stillman?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes. Operations and Finance,
Like-
Mr. Guarino?
I'd like to make a motion to move item number 1 under Operations and Finance.
All those, any discussion? You're against this. No discussion? Okay, roll call?
Mr. Greeno?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mrs. Romeo?
Yes.
Mr. Ovchinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz?
Yes.
Mr. Stillman?
Yes.
Mr. Conklin?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes.
I'd like to move items 2 through 4 under Operations and Finance.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Greeno?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mrs. Romeo?
Yes.
Mr. Ovchinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz?
Yes.
Mr. Stillman?
Yes.
Mr. Conklin?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes. We're back to public comment. Same thing that I said before. I'm hearing it in my sleep. The same thing that I said before. Anyone wishing to speak under public comment?
Seeing none, I'll move to close public comment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we need a motion for education. Kate, would you want to do that motion for us to go into executive
Sure, at
session?
8:06, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel appointments, resignations, current litigation matters, special education matters, negotiations, HIBs, a matter of attorney client privilege. The executive session minutes will not be released until such time as the privilege or confidentiality is no longer applicable.
And we will be returning for action.
Second.
Right? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We will be back.
Mr. Ovchinsky?
But we can and can't might get
Stevenson?
involved
Here.
in.
Mr. Stillman?
Here.
Mr. Greeno?
Here.
Mr. Conklin?
Here.
Mrs. Fritz?
Here.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Here. Mrs. Romeo, will you do motion number 3 under education, please?
I'd like to move motion number 3 under education.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Mrs. Francisco?
Mrs. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Greeno?
Yes.
Mr. Ovchinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz?
Here, yes.
Mr. Conklin?
Yes.
Mrs. Romeo?
Yes.
Mr. Stillman?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good
Aye.
evening.
Thank you.